Uncontrolled diabetes is a lot more dangerous than you think. Luckily, you are in full control and can prevent all the nasty side effects. At Simply Diabetes, we can help you manage your diabetes cheaper and easier.
We are not medical professionals. We are people with diabetes, just like you.
Welcome.
Many people have no idea how dangerous diabetes can be. No wonder that many don't take it seriously and don't control their sugar well. When I was diagnosed, my A1C, which is a measure of the average sugar over the last 3 months, was over 12. That's more than twice a healthy level. You could say I had a little bit of blood in my sugar. My then doctor told me, "You have diabetes, but don't worry about it. I have a lot of diabetic patients. Here's a handout about diabetes." It was one sheet of paper. Here's a prescription for medication. The nurse here will show you how to measure your sugar. Oh, and if you want, you can have 3 to 4 sessions with a dietitian. See you in 3 months. He said nothing about the danger I was in. No mention of possible serious complications. No concern that my blood glucose was outrageously high, even for a diabetic. No explanation that this disease is hugely impacted by lifestyle. No mention about the importance of measuring blood sugar regularly.
Wait, you mentioned there are serious complications. Shouldn't we tell people exactly what we're facing here?
You're right. The most important thing that was missing in the info that doctor gave me was why I should care. That is the details about diabetes complications. The handout mentioned what the issues were, but there were no details.
We have the details. They're pretty dire. But don't be scared. We are controlling diabetes precisely to avoid all these complications. And we need to know what the goal is.
One of the most common complications is heart disease. It sounds like one problem, but in fact, heart disease can be many different things. One is a blockage of arteries, which can reduce or even cut off blood supply to your heart. This could cause pain, heart attack, or even death. If the blockages occur not in your heart but in your brain, you could have a stroke. Disability or death could follow. The blockages can occur anywhere else in the body. That can give you pain and make it harder to move. It's not only hard to live like this, but also if you move less, you will have more difficulties keeping your blood sugar in the healthy range. And that will lead to even more problems. Your chance of heart or cardiovascular disease grows 2 to 4 times more likely with badly controlled diabetes.
High sugar causes nerve damage. This sounds abstract, so let's make it real. A friend was telling us about his diabetic father. The father loved to fix things, but because of his out of control diabetes, his body was having trouble healing even small wounds. The family was terrified that he'd cut himself and run into trouble again. Small injuries while you repair something are frequent, but if you suffer from nerve damage, like he does, you don't feel the pain.
You might think that not feeling pain sounds like a good thing. Nothing hurts and we are all good. But no. The father injured his toe and didn't know about it for a while. Bacteria crept in. In the meantime, his high blood sugar continued. What do bacteria love? Sugar! With the bacteria multiplying, the wound wouldn't heal. It got so bad that the father had to have part of his toe amputated. Now, whenever he tries to do any repairs or tweaks at all, the entire family is watching to make sure he doesn't get in trouble again. That's one great family, but can you really watch someone 24/7? Would you like to be watched like that? If you're curious, foot problems and amputations occur in 15 to 25% of diabetics who don't control their sugar well. That's less than the other problems, but do you really want to take that chance? The same nerve damage that leads to amputations can also lead to deafness and blindness. You have a 30 to 35% chance of hearing damage and a whopping 90% chance of vision problems with uncontrolled diabetes. If a solid chance of blindness doesn't motivate you to take better care of yourself, I don't know what to tell you.
Our bodies are not completely defenseless against high sugar. We have kidneys which filter out a lot of glucose. We then pee away the sugar. Sounds like a great system, right?
But kidneys can only do so much. And when your sugar is high, they get damaged. You can function with partially working kidneys, but if they fail, you'll end up stuck on a dialysis machine, which filters your blood several times a week. And even then, you don't feel all that great. The chance of kidney disease for a careless diabetic is 30 to 40%. Finally, infections. We've already seen what an infection paired with a nerve damage can do. But even if you don't lose any body parts, recurring infections aren't pleasant. Some people have infection after infection. Why? Because bacteria and yeast love sugar. That's their favorite food. So if you provide this food, they will thrive and you won't. Your doctor will then prescribe antibiotics and it will help for a bit. But then the bugs become resistant and we are back to the possibility of amputations.
Oh, and in general, you're twice as likely to die prematurely than a person with good blood sugar control.
I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to spend years of my life deaf, blind, in a wheelchair, attached to a dialysis machine, until a heart attack puts me out of my misery.
Many doctors don't go into the gory details, but we should. We need to know exactly what we're fighting against.
But my first doctor certainly didn't tell me any of this. My dad provided a lot of the info about the complications and also taught me how to live with diabetes to prevent them while still enjoying life. If I took my cues from this doctor, I would have continued on my merry way, perhaps taking a pill, and that would be all. And the results could have been catastrophic. I was lucky in a way. My both parents have had diabetes, and my dad was determined that the disease wouldn't get the best of him. He was an engineer and a teacher, but he made it his mission to learn as much about diabetes as he possibly could, reading everything he could get his hands on. He became my rock, taught me all he knew, and helped me get my blood sugar under control. By the way, we have found a different doctor, one that explains things much better.
When I was diagnosed a few years after Marjana, I knew exactly where to turn. Most people don't have a guide like that, but now you have us, Simply Diabetes, to help you.
Let's define diabetes. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, so let's talk about what diabetes actually is.
We all eat to survive, and the body processes that food for energy and building materials. We call it digestion. A healthy body can process any food quickly, but when you have diabetes, the digestive system isn't processing the food as it should.
Specifically, the body has trouble processing carbohydrates. The digestion process breaks down carbohydrates into sugar, and the hormone called insulin then helps move that sugar out of the bloodstream and into our cells. That's how it's supposed to work in a healthy body. But if you have diabetes, your body doesn't move the sugar into cells. Instead, the sugar lingers in the bloodstream. Too much sugar is dangerous. It can do a lot of damage in your body. So let's illustrate what actually is happening within our body. Here's some sugar, and I am going to get some of it into a bowl. If you now grab a pinch of that sugar and roll it around, it feels gritty. It doesn't feel smooth at all. So it will feel on the inside of our blood vessels the same way. Now imagine this piece of cardboard is our blood vessel or nerve ending, and this shard is a piece of sugar, and it's passing right by it and scratches it. Here is the result of that scratch. These kind of scratches occur inside our body. One scratch or two, just like one high sugar reading or two, is not going to be a problem. Our body knows how to fix it. But over time, these add up, and a small problem becomes a bigger problem, and so on. And that's the danger of diabetes.
There are two main types of diabetes. In type 1, your body doesn't make insulin, so there is no way for the sugar to move into your cells. In type 2, you do make insulin, but the body can't use it as it should. There is also gestational or pregnancy diabetes, which usually resolves after the baby is born. The amount of sugar in your blood fluctuates all the time and can change very quickly. The balance between too much or too little sugar is delicate. In a healthy person, it's automatic, but for us, people with diabetes, we don't have this luxury. We have to monitor and tweak this balance so that we can stay healthy.
You can have diabetes for a long time and never even know it. That's because at first, nothing hurts. You might feel a little more tired than usual, but it's easy to dismiss this feeling or attribute it to something else. Here are other symptoms. You are parched. You drink a lot of liquids, but it doesn't help. It's particularly bad if you drink sugary liquids. You pee a lot. After all, if you drink more, those extra liquids have to go somewhere. You are so hungry you could gnaw on your own elbows. You are tired most of the time. Sleep doesn't help much. You can't see very well and everything is blurry. This comes and goes. Any injuries you have don't heal very well. You get a lot of infections. This is particularly true for women and yeast infections. Many a woman was diagnosed because the yeast kept coming back no matter what. Your toes tingle or hurt. You could have any of these symptoms or none at all. The only sure way to tell is to do a blood test.
You've probably heard that if you lose weight, it will be easier to control your blood sugar. But losing weight takes forever. We can look at it in another way, and it won't take forever.
Let's reverse. If you control your blood sugar well, it will be easier to lose weight. You can control your blood sugar immediately, right now. I mean it. Next time you measure your blood sugar and it's higher than it should be, get up and do something active. Your sugar will improve. Depending on what you do and how long ago you ate, it will either fall dramatically or just a little, but it will be a meaningful difference. And you see it in minutes or an hour tops. Try that with weight loss. When I started thinking about my blood sugar this way, I found it liberating. I remember at my heaviest, looking in the mirror and noticing how much extra weight I was carrying. To get to a healthy weight, I would need to lose a massive amount of weight. This is me at my heaviest. I have very few pictures of me from that time. I was over 230 pounds. At 5'7", that's a lot of extra weight above my ideal. So I decided, fluff it, I'm not going to worry about it. I started focusing on my blood sugar instead. My A1C improved radically, and in the process, I lost over 35 pounds. I'm still not at my ideal weight, but that's okay. These days, I'm just below 200 pounds, still heavy, but have maintained my current weight for many years.
So, if you're looking at the scales and thinking of giving up, don't. You don't have to lose all the weight. Focus on your sugar and lose a little weight. Just 10 pounds is better than nothing. You will find you feel better. Your blood sugar readings will improve too.
Incidentally, it makes sense that your weight and blood sugar go together. After all, the same lifestyle changes improve both your sugar and your weight. The best way to manage your diabetes is with lifestyle. Use medication if you need it, But if you want to be healthy, medication by itself is not enough. Fortunately, we know exactly what we need to do to get our blood sugar down. We need to eat fresh foods, lots of veggies, good protein, and healthy fats, and as little as possible of sugar and simple carbs. We need to get moving because movement uses sugar in our blood. It also makes our bodies better able to manage the sugar that is coming through food. And here's the most important part. We need to measure our blood sugar regularly. If you don't, how do you know where you are? It's not like you can feel unless it's really out of whack.
Measure your sugar and make adjustments to your food and your movement based on the result. That's what we do. If you found info in this video useful, give us a like and subscribe to the Simply Diabetes channel.
You can also visit us at simplydiabetes.net and check out our books on Amazon. The links are below this video.
See you next time.